On Tuesday over on Instagram, I posted this picture of a box full of old vintage Schwinn bicycle catalogs, and I asked the question, if you saw this in an estate sale, would you look at it twice, or would you walk right on by? In today's episode, I'm going to give you my answer. What is up, Galaxians? Welcome to kind of a little bonus episode this week of the Galaxy CDs, Rocks, and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. If this is your first time here at the channel because the word BOLO in the title caught your attention, welcome to the show. My name is Ryan, and I am a full-time reseller, part-time YouTuber, and podcaster working out of my home here in Cincinnati, and this channel is all about the flip life. So let's talk about this box full of Schwinn bicycle catalogs. I posed that question on Instagram for two reasons: to see what people actually would think about it, and maybe to get people to actually think about it. One of the things that I think is really important for us as resellers is, no pun intended, to think outside the box sometimes. And the reason for that is, obviously, you are never going to be the first person in line at every estate sale you intend to go to over the course of a day, let alone a whole weekend. In the example of this particular sale, I strolled into this estate sale on Saturday afternoon, the third day of a 4-day sale. So obviously, a lot of the stuff most of us would normally be looking for, the big low-hanging fruit, the big hitters, that stuff was all gone. There wasn't a ton of stuff left. And you've got two options in that situation. You can be like, this place is cleaned out, I'm getting on to the next one. Or you can take a few minutes and look around and see if there's anything that maybe other people missed. In this case, I stumbled on this box of Schwinn bicycle catalogs. Now, to be fair, Schwinn, no disrespect to Schwinn, they're not today considered kind of at the same level of, say, a Trek or a Cannondale or a Giant, any of the big bike manufacturers. But back in the day, Schwinn was a fairly well thought of bike. So I'm looking at this box and I decide I'm going to rifle through it a little bit. And there are literally cycling catalogs for 98% of it was Schwinn, dating back to the early 1960s. So I'm like, I got nothing else to do. I'm here. I have an affinity, if you've been watching this channel for a while, for old paper, kind of ephemera catalogs, old model railroad magazines, and that kind of stuff. Anyway, so something like this and a bulk buy. I love bulk buys. So this thing kind of caught my eye to begin with. So I start looking up a couple of these. No comps, no solds. No comps, no solds. I went through 5 of them before I found one that was listed. The listed price was $19.99 plus shipping. No solds. Next one I looked at, same thing. I found one for $19.99 plus shipping, no solds. So what do? Do you buy it or do you pass? I decided I would just ask the question, what could I buy this whole box for? And the lady at the estate sale was like, make me an offer, but it's got to be more than $1. She says, I hate when people offer me $1 for boxes full of stuff. I said, all right, I won't offer you $1, but how about $10? She said, that would be great. Sold. So I bought this box. I bought it. It ended up being 98 catalogs. I was guessing it was probably around 100, and I was about spot on. So you can tell I've probably bought boxes of stuff like this previously. So 98 Schwinn catalogs. As I start working on the listings, I'm finding the same thing. There are virtually no listings and no recent solds. But when I go into Terapeak, man, oh man, did I find some gold. These 98 items, the average listing price is going to be around $25 with free shipping. This box, stuck on a shelf back in a corner at an estate sale that is nearly 75% of the way over, that I paid $10 for, has a retail value of really close to $2,500. All said and done, if they all sell, which I don't know that, of course, over time, I think probably most of them will sell. this is probably going to be a net profit item for me of roughly north of $2,000 on an initial investment of $10. My average cost of goods sold is 10.2 cents a piece for those of you who have commented about how closely I track that kind of stuff. 10.2 cents a piece. So I let this box sit for a couple of days, and on Tuesday, I started listing these. I only got maybe 20 of them listed, and within about 8 hours, I sold these two. One buyer bought this old 1970 Rally lightweight bicycles catalog for $23.99, and another person bought two 1960s era Schwinn bicycle catalogs for best offers of $34 a piece. I had those listed at $39.99. So in the matter of a handful of hours, an investment of $10 has already grossed $92. All said and done, it's probably going to be $84, $85 net profit. I've made 8 times my money, and I still have 95 catalogs available to sell. So the moral of the story, like I said at the outset, is to kind of think outside the box, especially if you're late to a sale. I suppose it should be obvious and that we should all be doing it, but I don't think we all do. I think sometimes we're in a hurry, we got a big list of sales, and we don't take the time to look around to just make sure there's not any gold left in them thar hills. In this case, this is a box that probably dozens, if not hundreds of people, many of whom would have been resellers, looked at and didn't look at twice. I did, and it's going to make me about $2,000. So there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Is this the kind of stuff that you ever look for? Would this change your mind on whether you would open some of these old boxes and maybe take a chance on these catalogs? Now, I will grant this is going to be a little bit of work. I've got to create 90 odd listings. There are a few duplicate catalogs in there. So it's going to be a little work. It's not one item that you can buy low-hanging fruit for 20 or 30 bucks and sell for 300 or 400. But if I pointed to a box at an estate sale and said, you could buy that box sight unseen, you don't know what it is, you don't know how much work it's going to be, you could buy it for 10 bucks and it will gross $2,000 or $2,500. Would you buy that box? I'm pretty sure most of us would say yes to that, even if we were going to have to create 98 listings. So take some time when you're at those sales, when you think there's nothing left, and just make sure, and this may be an example of something that you would not ordinarily have looked for. So is it a BOLO? Yes. How likely are you to run into a box of old Schwinn bicycle catalogs? Maybe not very often, but you might run into a box full of some other old catalogs that everybody else walked by, that you were the only one that took the time to look them up. So let me know what you think of all that. If you are a first-time visitor here and this is the kind of content that you like, please consider subscribing to the channel or to the podcast. If you're watching over on YouTube and you got something out of this, or you enjoyed it, or you just feel generous, whack that thumbs up button for me and let the YouTube algorithm know that this was an okay video. With that, I still got a bunch of these catalogs to get listed. It's time to sell. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody. Thanks for spending a little time with Galaxy CDs, Rocks, and Flips. If you'd like to spend a little more time, there's another video in the upper right-hand corner. If you'd like to spend a lot more time, you can subscribe down below.